All right. Can you hear me now? I know you can hear me now. Sound is sorted out. You should be able to hear me now. Okay. Sound good? Is the sound good? Yeah. We are back in business. We're back in business. Good job. Thank you, guys. That means people are paying attention. That's important. Good afternoon. Good evening. Where you are. Let's talk about one of the most hot topics in the next 15 minutes. Let's look at what it is that we are discussing. Okay, so let's begin by understanding what we have been told by the president. The other day, let me know where you're watching me from, and not just where you're watching me from. Share this video, share this broadcast so that we can reach as many people as possible. Okay, so today I want to tackle um, this word here, inflation. Inflation. And I don't want to be academic today. I don't want to talk about academic definition of inflation. I don't want to talk about the calculation, how the calculations are done, um, about inflation and so on and so forth. I want to talk about inflation in a layman's term. That way we can understand exactly what's going on. So fortnight ago, the president, I think yesterday, the president posted a trends visual, a bar chart trend visual that showed that inflation rate. Let me include this here so that we are on the same page. Okay, inflation rate that the president posted, and he was saying the annual inflation in May dropped to 10 point something percent, and I think the actual it's about 10.2%. Okay, and he asked economists to say what they wanted to say about the inflation. All right, thank you for watching Mwense District in Luapula. Gregory Museba, thank you for joining me from Mwense District. I went to Mwense District. I went to Kalampa Boys in Mwense District. I went to Mwense Secondary School, Kalampa Boys. The first time I passed my grade 7 exams, the first place I went to for secondary school was at Mwense Secondary School in Luapula. So, but Gregory Museba Wesu, it's good to see that Mwense district in Luapula is watching. Let me explain to you. Kulwansha, Balwansha, thank you for joining. Thank you so much. Australia is in the house, watching you from Mighty Kapirimponshi. Wakapiri. Pomolina Imaganji. All right. Mina wakwa haye mwinzikai. Walukulu mwinzikai. Yeah? Wase sheke ni walukulu mwinzikai. Amtae fa. Walukulu mwinzikai. Wakaoma. Osaka Garden. All right, all right. All right. So let me just let me go ahead and explain a few things. What you are seeing the president post, and let me just see if I can share a slide. What I want you to understand about inflation rate is a measurement, it's a metric that is used to measure the general price level in the economy for a specific period of time. Okay? There might be a lot of other definitions there. But let me tell you what this is. This is just a metric. It's a measure of general price level in the economy for a specific period of time. For a specific period. Period and time are the same thing. So inflation is a metric that measures the general price level in the economy for a specific period of time. Now, the specificity of the period is very important in understanding what inflation is. You understand? Eh? Tell me where you're watching me from. Tell me. And I want you to listen very carefully. So, the president says annual inflation has been decreasing. Okay? And annual inflation has been decreasing from about last year, June. Okay? From about last year, June, and I'll show you here. Okay? So June 2021, inflation was about 24% plus. Okay? In June, inflation in June 2021, not this year, in June 2021, inflation was 24%. The question is, how do they measure from one period to the other? What you are seeing the president posted was inflation, annual inflation. And what you do is you measure 12 months period to date, and then make comparisons based on that. And that's why if you followed my video that I did with Emmanuel Mwamba, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba, I said inflation is a lagged variable. Lagged because you're measuring from historical data. And so when you measure inflation, annual inflation in this case, you're measuring 12 months. 12 months prior months to the current month. Okay? And so if we say June 2021, inflation was 24%, and then inflation in June of this year, which hasn't happened yet, let's just pick a month. Let's just say, and in fact, let me use inflation of May, because May has finished. We have 2 months. Let me use May for a very good example. Stay with me. Don't lose me. Okay? May 2021. Okay, May 2021, inflation rate in Zambia was 23%. Okay? I hope you're following. Okay, May 2021, inflation was 23%. In May 2022, have you seen how we've jumped? Eh? In May of 2022, Now we've jumped 12 months. So from here to here, it's 12 months. That's why it's called annual inflation. So you jump from May 2021, the inflation rate was 23%, to last month, which we have completed the whole month, so we can calculate the inflation rate for that month. If you compare from annual, from a year worth of period, from May to May, you look at the inflation and say, what has happened to that rate? Okay? The current inflation rate that was posted by the president says that the inflation has gone down to 10.2%. Okay? Now, you see why there's confusion. Because let me tell you where the confusion is. A lot of people are measuring inflation that we're talking about on a day-to-day basis. That's not how you do it. This metric is not being measured on minuscule time periods like that. It's being measured on an annual basis. And so if you compare the general rate at the rate that the prices are increasing or decreasing over time, you see that inflation has actually gone down from May 2021 from 23% to May 2022, which is now at 10.2%. That's how you should be looking at it. Now, between May 2021 and May 2022, prices will fluctuate. Prices will fluctuate. They'll go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And in Zambia, because we are an import-dependent economy, most of our consumable goods are imported. We don't usually manufacture most of the things that we eat, most of the things we use, our clothes, our computers, our toothpicks, our toilet paper, most of the things we use in Zambia are imported from either South Africa or Dubai. You've seen these people go to Dubai to buy clothes. These people who go to Tanzania to buy clothes, they bring those things to Zambia. What happens is that inflation rate, okay, there's what we call food, non-food related products and goods that go into the calculation. And there's also the food part of, I don't want to go into the into the how to calculate that, but I want to give you an idea. Some of the things that affect inflation in Zambia, the only thing that you must understand that's important right now is also the exchange rate, okay? The exchange rate. The forex exchange rate, the exchange rate of kwacha to dollar. And why is that? It's because we import most of the things we use. Because we import most of the things that we use in Zambia, what happens is that most of our imports, the price of those goods, of the imports, are affected by the exchange rate. And so you have to understand from that perspective that, in fact, exchange rate plays a huge role. Okay, in the general price of goods and services in Zambia. So if you've noticed, from the time that we changed government and the business environment has generally improved, it is not where it's supposed to be, but it has improved over time. And there's been work to stabilize the exchange rate by Bank of Zambia and by the Ministry of Finance. That stabilization activities has helped increase the exchange rate, and also the what we call optimism, the optimism in the positive optimism in the economy, and also the favorable environment, business environment, is also contributing to the inflation, to the perception, business perception. Okay, and so what happens is that as the exchange rate improves, kwacha right now is trading at about $16, 16.5 kwacha to a dollar. At the time that we had elections, kwacha was almost $18. Kwacha was way up there, was almost headed to 19 kwacha to a dollar. And so this improvement in the exchange rate has, within that 12 months, improved the purchasing power of the kwacha. Every time kwacha improves, you are buying more things outside cheaper than you would. And so your imports are cheaper. And the hope is that as the importers of goods and services import things at a cheaper price, they'll pass on those benefits to the people. That's the effect of exchange rate and inflation. When the price goes down, the general price level begins to go down because of exchange rate, because of bumper harvest, because of different things that go into that, like that. That rate goes down to the price level, the inflation rate goes down. Okay? Okay, so that's the nitty-gritty, guys. Okay, so in a very simple way, when you look at inflation and when you see them report inflation like this, you're going to realize that this is a lagged variable. It's lagged. Don't be scared of the English. The lagging, it just means that they are counting 12 months from May 2021 to May 2022. Okay? So one of the factors that affects that is the price level. You calculate between 12 months from May 2021, June 2021, July 2021, August 2021. You keep calculating 12 months behind, 12 months behind, 12 months behind. Okay? I saw Dr. Musha try to come in here. Dr. Musha, come back. Dr. Musha. Dr. Musha was sitting in the background here. I think he has a question. I was not there. Didn't she? Am I saying it, Chiwa? It's your Chava Munsha. You have turned into Valentina, Dr. Munsha. You have turned into Valentina. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand that it's true. It's very true that the price level, the inflation rate is decreasing on an annual basis. If you take the 12-month period, inflation is actually decreasing. If you do a year-to-year comparison, inflation level is decreasing. What is going to happen is that you're going to begin to feel the price easiness in the economy and in the homes and in the next intermittent period. Because what happens is that usually price levels generally don't go down. And I want you to understand one thing that is very important. Price levels generally, when they increase, they don't usually go down. Now, listen, there's a lot of people, there's a problem in Zambia with listening. I want you to understand what I'm saying. Generally speaking, prices, once they go up, they don't usually come down drastically. What usually happens is that what we would love to see in an economy is for people to get paid better. So the price on labor, the price on labor has to increase with inflation. We feel poor as Zambians now because the wage price has been static. You understand me? Static wages. So let me explain what's happened. That's why you feel like things are expensive. They're more expensive. Yes, they are. But you feel more poor because of static wages. Okay? So the rate of inflation, the rate at which the inflation is increasing is way higher. Let's just say this is inflation rate. Let's call it I, right? Inflation. Let's say we draw, let me draw something properly here, guys. Okay, so let's draw a model. We call these things models, right? Okay, let's just say you have an XY. You know these things, this is XY plane, right? Okay, so let's just say we draw two models here. We draw an inflation, it's going up, and this is periods, right? Let's just say 2011 to 2022, right? If inflation is going up, this is inflation. If inflation is going up at this rate, right? And this side is percentage. Let's just say this side is percentage. This is percentage on a y-axis, and on the x-axis, this is x and y-axis, okay? This is percentage, this is period in years. These are years. If inflation is going up like that, what is not happening is that the wage price, the amount of money that you get paid at your jobs, is not increasing as fast as inflation. Okay? So wage must be growing at a very low rate. So this is wage rate. Let me just call it wage rate. And this is inflation rate. You see the divergence? The divergence in the inflation rate and the wage rate is what is making the Zambians feel poorer every year that comes. You understand what I'm saying? This is what's happening. The distance here between the inflation rate and the wage rate is increasing. You see that? This distance and this distance is high. So as we progress on, if this continues, it becomes a problem. It becomes a huge problem. So what the government does now, what is the role of government? What the government does is reduce, like Malcolm is saying here, is to manage this. intervene. The government intervenes to manage inflation rate, make it stable, or slow it down. Okay? You slow the inflation so that inflation slows down, so that the wage rate can catch up. You see that? That's what government does. Government, through monetary policy interventions, will influence inflation rate. Inflation rate, once it's manageable and stable, plus exchange rate, foreign exchange rate, because foreign exchange rate affects goods and services that we buy. So the monetary policy, exchange rate stability, will stabilize inflation. And this is, remember, these are rates here. Right now, we are somewhere around 10.2%. We need to bring this down to about single digit, maybe around 8. When this slows down, what we need to do is encourage employers in the country to increase wages for workers, for farmers, and prices of labor. So I didn't want to go into a lot of things because I didn't want to go into academics, but I want you to know that this right here, the wage rate, comes from availability of employment. This, we can link it in economics in what we call the Phillips curve. The Phillips curve links the price of labor and productivity and production to the general prices in the economy, and also production is linked to GDP output. Okay, so the wage rate here, how does the government influence the wage rate? Okay, remember, again, there's a lot of things going on here. Okay, there's a lot of things going on here. You have, remember where we're coming from. You have inflation rate. Again, I want you to know inflation rate that the president posted and other people have been talking about. They are talking about annual inflation rate. Okay? That is calculated monthly to monthly, and it's lagged. Okay? What we want to see is increased production in the economy. That's what the New Dawn government is working on. Increase production in the economy so that we can have the wage rate catch up to inflation. More people enter the labor market at good prices of labor, hours that they are actually selling. You see that the wage rate will start going up. And as the wage rate goes up and catch up to inflation rate, you won't complain about the prices. Okay? And so I want you to understand that what the metrics they're giving out are correct. In fact, you should be happy that the exchange rate is stabilizing and inflation rate is stabilizing, because then what we want to do is then attract more people into the labor market to get paid, not just get paid salaries, but get paid well. Get paid well. That's important. When those people get paid well, they won't complain about the price of minimum. Yes, I think Malcolm, I think that was an intermittent strategy. The intermittent strategy was to not really slow down aggregate spending. I think what they need, what the New Dawn government has tried to do is to close off leakages out of the economy. And so what has happened is that first, in the first 6 months, the New Dawn government has been preoccupied with ensuring that all functions of government expenditures, all those centers of expenditures, we close the leakages, because leakages, remember, are a cost to the economy. And so what happens is that if you went into increase aggregate expenditure while you're trying to control inflation, you'll be actually shooting yourself in the foot while trying to achieve stable inflation rate. And so the problem, this is the same, that what you're saying is what the PF government, those are the mistakes the PF government was making. The PF government had Bank of Zambia trying to implement contractionally policies while the Ministry of Finance was implementing expansionally fiscal policies. And so you had two contradictory policies working at the same time. And so there was nothing. In fact, the end effect was that they, with other compounding factors, the aggregate demand and aggregate output in the economy fell, declined, and decreased. And so what the New Dawn government is doing is to arrest the runaway inflation by implementing monetary policies that are contractional in nature, at the same time reducing aggregate spending in order to bring the money supply in the economy down so that inflation comes down. That strategy is intermittent. It's intermittent. It's not a long term, because if you look at the way they have done it, at the same time they're doing that, they have injected at macro level, at micro level, they're injecting more money supply in the hands of the people to spark consumption and activities at community level through the CDF. So the CDF policy is aimed at taking that money straight to the people so that you can begin community level economic activities. No, and I agree with you. We need increased productivity in the economy. But you see, productivity will only come if we are more efficient as an economy. If we are more efficient, if we can close the loopholes of corruption and leakages, and also increase our technological know-how, begin to make some of the things that we can't make. Simple things like toothpicks, toilet paper, we should be able to make those things easily. And so for me, I think we are in the right direction in terms of stabilizing the macroeconomic fundamentals. So anyway, any more questions? Yeah, thank you, Malcolm, for those contributions. Those were really very, very worthwhile contributions. You've always been very, very informative on that end. Any questions? Any questions, guys? So I've explained to you what is happening. So don't doubt what is being said out there. The macroeconomic indicators that you're seeing, you're going to be seeing a lot of economic activities once these macroeconomic fundamentals are stabilized. Okay? What factors has caused inflation to come down? Stable exchange rate is one of the major factors. There's also the issue of anticipated expectation in the economy of FDIs, foreign direct investments. There's also the issue of bumper harvest, and there's that is expected bumper harvest. All those things are going into the reduction in inflation. The other thing is that there's been a reduction in aggregate spending by government. There's been a drastic aggregate spending by government, especially on infrastructure. So in the last 9 months, there's not been a release of huge sums of money into infrastructure spending, such that there is very little money supply going out there, and that helps with fighting inflation. Okay. Why is CDF still in banks? Well, that is a question that I think one of the things that people need to do is approach your constituency MPs, approach your MPs and ask them, because MPs are involved in that process. MPs are involved in that process. If money is sent to a constituency and is seated in the constituency fund, account at the district level, let's ask our MP why that is. Okay. Okay. So yeah, Malcolm, I might get you next time, man, to come and talk specifically about some of these technical topics, and let me know what your limitations are vis-a-vis your profession, and we can bring you on a professional topic so that you can handle some of the issues to do with taxation and stuff like that. And so I'll be honored to have you come online and help the people understand what's going on. I'm not an expert in taxation. You are an expert in that area. And so, yeah, that'll be great. Guys, I'm only supposed to be here for 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes on my midweek roundtable. And so I appreciate you joining me. And I hope you can share this, and so that we can learn, where we can continue engaging each other. And thank you again. And thank you for watching TV Bakwetu. This is midweek roundtable. And we are going to come this Saturday. We have challenged Dr. Fred Membe to come on Punch for Punch, or this Saturday, so that we can go, head to head on this broadcast, on this TV Bakwetu. We are growing. We are making an effort. And thank you again for showing love. Thank you, guys. What question? Philemon Skazwe, what question do you have before I go? Philemon Skazwe, I'm waiting for you. I don't want to leave my followers hanging. Philemon Skazwe, what did you ask, my brother? Repost your question, Philemon Skazwe. All right, Philemon Skazwe, inbox me your question, and I'll probably attend to it in the next segment. All right, thank you, guys. James Jerry, good to see you, my brother. No. I'm an economist and a data scientist, bro. I'm not an accountant. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.